schools right after COVID.
They got really great last year.
Yeah.
Does he play sports?
Yeah.
Well, he'll love it there then. Yeah. There's like teams for everything. They got like rugby.
They seem like a place that would have lacrosse. Do they? Is that?
Catholic has some lacrosse. They
there
actually have a
enough
JV baseball team. You know, other teams right now, they don't have enough kids barely to.
Really?
They are. I can't remember what school that was. Catholic was just played somebody, the JV team. They took the trip over with 7 guys. Got there and then had to forfeit. They said, well, just in case someone shows up on their own, we decided to come. So they came there, sat around until like 4:15 game time. They go, game's called. Okay, get back on the bus.
Wow.
We take any? No, don't need to, man. Get back on the bus. All right. Have we started?
Yep, it's started.
Okay. All right, it is 6:01. We will start tonight's Planning Commission work session meeting. Start with roll call. Dave, I am here. Jesse? Here. Nick?
Here.
Lee? Here. John, do we hear from John?
He's not gonna be here.
Okay. Casey?
Here.
And Todd?
Here.
All right. And approval of the agenda, nothing to add tonight?
Nope.
All right. Have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, here's the exciting part. We will now at 6:02 open up the public comment. So if you have any public comment, we have public. Any comments?
This is general comment, right?
General.
General.
Nope.
All right, at 6:02, I'll be closing the public comment. All right, we will open up a discussion item for 4912 Russell Road, the preliminary discussion of the proposed project from Regent Sand. And tonight, we have Anton here. Would you like to take a moment and talk us through what you're looking for here?
Yeah, I have some materials here. Is that appropriate? I can give you some stuff here. Check one, Jeff.
Sure.
So we're in the process finally of finalizing the retirement of our Norton Shores site. So with that really is our moving of our office facilities out to our plant here. And with that, just the growth, I'll put the easy one first. There's 2 requests. One is this cold storage building. You can see here on the site. So it's just basically 40 by 80 cold storage site, pole barn construction. That's just for storing of equipment and maintenance of equipment. So that's just going to be further back, on our site. So I think that's the easier of the 2 requests. So that my plan is to come to June 3rd with that official request, and talking with Steve, I would need to do a special use and a site amendment for just adding that building. And then on our site here, I just have a bunch of equipment that I need to move by this building. So I need to do that first, and then I can start getting an area clear for where I want the office. So the cold storage building on the second page here, you can just see it's just a pole barn construction, couple pages there. I think that's pretty straightforward on the request. That one thing then would be pretty easy. In talking with Steve, the one I have concern on, or not, just looking for guidance, is the new office. So if you look at the 4th page there, so on the southeast southwest part of our this parcel here, we're looking to add an office with a new driveway. It's its own separate driveway. So I'm talking with Steve. I'd have to go through the road commission, get approval. So I don't know where that will be on, off Russell Road, they're gonna have to dictate that, and then, but in general, this is where I'd like the office. I have typically 100-foot buffer around the whole site, and here I'd like to have a, 50-foot buffer. There's all, in that area, there's 50 feet at least of trees, thick tree between us and the southern property owner. So want to keep that for privacy for, both parties. What we're thinking is a 60 by 100 dimension, and then hopefully 2 stories is what we're thinking. The first floor would be office space, and the second would be training, because we do a lot of off-site training, so we can bring that on-site versus doing it off-site or in a garage, something like that. So,
Are you thinking 30-foot tall? Because this says 60 by 100 by 130. So you're thinking 60 by 100 by 30-foot tall?
now so I have that building that you guys approved, that's a prefab steel building that I got approved in 2017, that's 90 by 70, and it's the same, it's like 30, so it's almost identical. I don't know if we're gonna use, I'll call it just wood, or if we're gonna do prefab steel yet. I'm still waiting for quotes and designs from different builders. But it sounds like I can save some money and get what I want with a prefab steel building, so we'll see what comes out, but,
I think what Jesse was saying was on page 4,
yeah.
the dimensions for that building, it says in here 60 by 100 by 130. You mean that's by 30, correct?
30, yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
he was saying. That
Got
was
it,
a really
got
tall,
it, yes, yes, yes.
We're gonna have our first skyscraper in.
Right,
You guys are going big, we like that.
right. We're adding to the tax base. So really, I'm just looking for guidance. Let's see, I've got Lakeshore helping me with, the screening, so I'm gonna have the 50-foot south and west. I'm looking for that undisturbed tree line from, so 50 feet from the south border, 50 feet from the west border. And then, since we have a paved parking lot, I'm talking with Steve, I need a storm water plan, right? And so I'm working with Lakeshore Consulting on that, design. And ultimately, we look at be moving at 8 full-time employees from Norton Shores to here with room to grow the, office, so. I'm not sure what else I need to do in order to, get things approved before I come to a formal application.
Road commission, that's a big one, because they'll pretty much plot that right for you and tell you what you gotta do as far as all the information of how far from the road,
Okay.
center roadway, all that stuff. And that's nothing we have saying, we always refer to it as needing their approval and whatever their recommendations following that.
Okay.
I think building size, at least starting on the first one, the pole barn, does anybody see anything with that would be a concern? Stays, everything size-wise, that looks appropriate. So on the other part, Steve, is there anything, what is it we're asking of him at this point? Or what does he need to comply with?
You would just need us to amend the special land use and a new site plan review.
What specifics for the office and,
Correct.
Would you have to do that in 2 phases? Would you have to do a SLU request for the cold storage and then come back later and do for the office building?
No, it can be all
It's gonna
together.
be a site plan, all,
The amendment for the special land use is because of the office or something, and then,
Because they're adding structure basically,
Yeah.
okay. not allowed or whatever.
Just not included in the
Just
current
not
special
included,
use, so it wasn't on the original drawings,
Okay.
I guess.
And none of the equipment that would be moved around, is there any concern, you think, from your perspective, I guess I would ask, is there anything you could see noise-wise that might be closer to neighbors or anything that we might get concerns or complaints?
No, this is just, no, there's just,
Okay,
our boneyard.
okay.
I mean, there's no active moving equipment.
I know we had some, you'd put some berms up and things around there to protect for lighting and some noise, but you went, I mean, you took care of the stuff that was asked, and sounds like the neighbors were happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Do I-
Nugent Sand have a timeline on how many years that property will mine? Just out of
Forever.
curiosity.
Forever.
Okay. So, you
40,
have,
50 years of reserves is what we have, and, you know, could we grow, we could grow, we
you
definitely.
have other parcels than the one described here.
Yeah, the special land use goes for about 400 acres, so I would bring that, you know, when I come, I would have that whole thing. The whole site plan would be amended when I come formally. This is just like a snapshot of where I'm gonna focus in on. But the whole site plan would be what I've originally have on file with all of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have our property that, in the special land use that we are mining, and then we actually lease land from the McCormick sand that we would, that we're mining right now as well. So we have both, all in that is in our special use and site plan.
And for the site plan, Steve, would there be anything we'd have to do with, like, the setting of the driveway? That sounds, I can't believe that would be a really major thing for road commission to come back and say, no, you have to.
I don't think it would be too major, it should just be set. The road commission should make their decision before you
Okay.
make yours, so you don't have to make the decision twice.
Would he have to have that before he comes?
He wouldn't need to have it, but I would recommend it,
Okay.
or at least some approval from the road commission saying that it looks good.
Okay. Because that is definitely not our day job, so when we get the experts, we like to ask them to tell us that we're okay to approve that.
Could I get an approval being contingent on the road commission, you know, approval for the office? Because I'd like to do the pole barn as soon as possible. I got everybody lined up for that. I don't have everything lined up for the office yet. I probably will be 2 or 3 months away from the office with the storm plan and all that other stuff I have to do.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if you had to do two.
I might have to do
Separate.
two if I want
That's
to.
what I'm wondering, if would he have to do two separate, if he wants one approved prior to the information on?
I don't believe so. I'll double check and make sure there's nothing that would prevent that.
Okay. Worst case scenarios, you might have to split them, but I don't know.
I don't see what would hurt doing both now, being contingent on the road commission, because, you know, sometimes the road commission gets funny about having too many driveways too close together, which in this situation, they very well might say, well, it's on your same property, you're gonna use your driveway you already have, and you're gonna build your own road on site. Like, there's a very good chance they're gonna say that. But it doesn't matter to us whether they have to do that, or whether they come off from Russell Road into a parking lot. No matter what the road commission says, it's not gonna affect us one way or the other as far as
So
approving the
contingent
building and the location of the building and everything else. And I guess technically, we wouldn't even have to make contingent on the road commission, because do we care if they
You already have a driveway.
build a driveway parallel to Russell Road to get to their office, for example?
Right.
If Paul said, no, you can't add another driveway.
The road commission might see that as something favorable to have a car and pickup truck
Yeah,
driveway,
that too, right.
rather than the semi
Yeah, you never.
heavy equipment
you never know.
driveway.
guess, but.
Thoughts, anybody? I mean,
Makes sense, yeah.
Preliminary. It's at the Sultan.
So would I need to have a storm plan to get your approval, or at least it's all something I have to submit to the building permit people when I'm building, because I'm not gonna be building till the spring of next year as it is because of lead time, so.
and that's for the driveway for the, parking.
It's just for all the office, all affiliated with the paving of the parking lot for the office.
That's normally part of the site plan.
Yeah, we need to see that the water drainage is not going to affect the neighbors and things like that, yeah.
Okay.
Because we actually recently just done some work on our ordinance to add that. And I think it's in our regular site plan review anyways.
I think that, the verbiage is that your water on your property
Yeah.
needs to remain on your property, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yep. I think it's pretty neighborly, you guys have worked well with the neighbors and all.
Yeah, that's our intention.
Yeah.
I mean, but you would need to see the plan to prove that.
I would say yes. I don't know how everyone else feels, I think that would be standard.
Yes.
It's hard for us to approve without all
Yep.
the boxes checked.
The only issue I see too with both these buildings is, so in the ag district, the principal building can be 35 feet high, so you kind of have to pick one. The accessory buildings are only allowed to be 24. This is how our zoning reads right now.
But you guys made exceptions. I've got buildings all over the place in there that are bigger than that, so it's just.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't know how that's all worded in the special use, because the towers, I mean, the silos are 150 foot tall or whatever. It's just a bridge to cross, I guess, to make sure everybody's been treated fairly.
No, I hear you. You guys made exceptions for everything, just like I mean, we don't have to come back every 5 years for the sand mining thing. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff that you've,
I believe they could be, in this circumstance, you could approve more than one principal building, since it's part of a special land use. I think it's 4.43, I believe.
So would you have to designate principal building 1, principal building 2, just something like that on the plan?
What page is
That
that?
was there. 4.43. Actually, shall not contain more than one principal building except for groups of apartments, retail, industrial, or agricultural buildings, or multi-tenant commercial buildings or complexes, each with a use permitted within the zoning district, and which collectively meet all the provisions of the ordinance relating to parking, landscaping, setback, and all other restrictions.
I got 4, 5, 6 buildings, at least right now, depending on what you call a building. I could have even 10, depending on what you
Structures,
call structures, right?
Yeah, I think that would be fine myself.
You want to designate it on the drawing as to which ones are above the height limit, or principal building 1, principal building 2, principal building 3, just so we're recognizing that.
I don't remember exactly what we did with the original special use.
I'm trying to remember.
Just so that we word this one right, I
Yeah.
guess, to reflect that or whatever. Because one of the worst things people, all these commissions have done in the past is like, somebody looks at it 10 years later and they're like, well, why'd you do that? Or, what? So as long as it's clear,
For me, I'd be clear with if they were designated, which ones are just 1, 2 principal buildings. So we have a way of describing them if we're discussing one of them. I guess that helps us for principal building 1, principal, not that we'll ever do that, but if we ever had to, someone could refer to it and say, that's the one I'm talking about.
And I think in special land use, you could word it as to adding 2 new principal buildings.
Okay.
I think as long as that's in there, it'll be
Okay.
clear.
on solid footing,
Okay.
as impact principal.
That's why Steven makes the big bucks, he knows this stuff.
So I don't have to designate the other buildings on the premises, just the 2 new ones.
Just the 2 new
Right.
ones. Unless you want them.
That stuff's already going out.
I don't think we're gonna
No.
revisit, but if you say that you're doing 2 new principal buildings, I'm okay with that.
The 8 employees that are coming over is great. Do you think there'll be more in the future, or?
Possibly. We've got a lot of growth plans, so.
Good.
We just hired 5 new plant employees just in the last month. So,
Excellent.
Part of the process is for us to do site visits. Is it possible, is there a better time for us to have, we're not supposed to go in mass where we can't all go as one group, but if we were to go, is there a time period that would be best to come out and not to take your time from other things? Or we wouldn't really even need to see a lot of things, we really just have to be on site for something.
I'm flexible,
Okay.
so, based on our conversation, I don't think I'll be able to get the storm plan by June 3rd. I just gotta talk to my consultant on that and just, would you wanna go before just a meeting?
Just as part of the process is just
Yep.
to be on site. And
Which is what you got done, you've done that before.
Yeah, we did, I think the last time was around Christmas time or something, because you guys were having a party or something out there, and we got to go around there, and it was hard to see a lot of things, it was at night, I think, when we were out there, so I really didn't get a good perspective on it, so it helps me a little bit.
No problem,
Okay.
yes.
Weekends is fine. Evenings.
Yeah, evenings would be better, during the week for me would be better than weekends. I don't live in this area, I live in Grand Rapids, I commute over every day.
Okay.
I commute over every day, so I can do weekends, but also nothing's running on the weekends typically, so if you wanna see it running, you wanna see it during the week.
Do we have a contact number? Dave?
I can give you cards.
Yeah.
Okay, that would help.
Cool.
Anything else?
I think that, anything you can think of? Questions?
I was wondering if there's actually going to be fighting, jump out.
You know how to get hold of me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it. You've got one of these, right? I think
I
you've
believe
got
so.
one of these, you've got one of these. I appreciate the time and looking forward to working with all of you. Be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the 31st
question, John, before we move on.
Yep.
Is this something you guys want me to not vote on, being that we have a region?
I would.
I don't own any part of this business or anything else. So on the original special use, I did not vote on that because of possible monetary advantage, right? So with this, I mean, it doesn't make no difference to me, it ain't gonna make any difference on whether they lease our property or not, whether or not they build an office building, right? But if you want me just to stay clear of it too, that's fine. I just wanna throw it out there, I mean, just like you said, he was,
Right.
they are mining on our property. We have a long-term deal worked out with them. So if it's better, just have me stay out of it, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I wanna be
it's your guys'
clear
decision.
about it right now.
The way I would do it, right, if I was deciding, is I would have the planning commission vote in the meeting on whether you should participate when you go into that item. And if it goes through, then you participate, and if it doesn't go through, it was in that policy, which I can't remember. I can't remember if you stay up there, or you go down in the same room, or you leave the room. I remember it was designated, and those were three options, but it was written one way in the policy.
When we did the special use, not that it was right, when we did the special use, when they did the special use, because that was a lot. I mean, I remember there were several meetings and stuff, you know, obviously it was years ago, 5, 6 years ago. They wanted me to participate in the discussion, but when it came time to vote, I sat down. I didn't vote.
I have an opinion,
So,
It's right here in the bylaws.
Yeah, it's in the bylaw.
If we decide, if a majority vote decides you do have a conflict of interest, you depart the table and do not participate in any way. If,
all right.
so,
So, yeah.
Yeah, because this is a work session, so you wouldn't vote on that in this one, but you.
Right, but I wanted to bring it up
In that.
now.
Oh, that's
prior to
exactly.
the meeting, so that it's
my opinion is that
all open,
your,
whatever you want to do.
your knowledge of building in general would be helpful to the committee. And, you know, whether it's Joe Blow's pole barn, or, you know, these two simple buildings, with, you know, without regard to, you know, being in any business relationship with them. So I don't have a problem with
Any discussion, anybody have a, let's put it this way, I mean, it's.
I personally could care less, but to the public, is there gonna be somebody that's like, oh, McCormick and
it. Right.
you're saying those guys are tight, and Jesse was probably up there voting to get this thing to go through.
Right.
That'd be my only
Right.
hesitation, is just the public opinion or public
Yeah.
view.
Yeah, I mean, if it was something like there was a split vote or something, that'd definitely be a good idea to.
Is that a case where we can allow, and if that, we get to a deciding vote, we can abstain?
That shouldn't occur, that process shouldn't occur.
Okay.
It'd be a super bad situation to put yourself in, yourselves,
Yeah,
in general. Now, you don't wanna be in that position, because then it would be contentious, because you have the idea of,
Right.
should he have been allowed to be voting at all? And if you are voting, you shouldn't abstain unless there is a conflict. So now you're admitting at the last moment that there's conflict, and you said before there isn't, so you're kinda contradicting yourself.
So just do it one way or the other up front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I say, on one hand, there is no financial gain to us, whether they build an office or not, it has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? I mean, they're mining our property before any office came or whatever else.
I understood when you were actually on issues for McCormick, why you would abstain, and actually that would be something, you said, but this is something, it's not the same, so for me, I would have no issue with having you in the discussion and in the vote, because I think you're a planning commission member the rest of the time, so why not allow you to do something that is part of your.
And you get to a point too, I mean, like Casey can relate to it, I mean, like, I have a lot of customers that store at Dalton Township that I know that I visit with and this and that, and so at what point do you say, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know him, yeah, he can do that, or what, I mean. So, it's, and some of us are kind of the same boat, a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
Just a lot of people you know and deal with and. But just whatever everybody wants, I don't care.
And we need to do that vote at the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in a working session, so we're not voting on anything here.
Yeah.
I would have to
throw it
vote,
out,
I would
so
at
we
least
don't-
go through the process, and then the way it says it in the bylaws, just do it that way.
Okay. And then it's our decision, not yours. And that way it takes it puts,
Right.
all right, that's what we'll do.
I just wanna throw it out there so we don't talk about it then.
All right, let's move on to the SU 22-53. What?
Why not hate it? It's just
Ground mounted.
Ag RC.
Except for one there, the SU 2203.
Yes.
Mhm.
Looks to be pretty straight up like the last ones, right?
Or even more straight up. A lot more room,
It's
no
behind the house.
utility or pipeline running through the property that we know of. And quite a ways back from the road. Anybody know which way north would be on this drawing?
That's what I was looking for that too, and I don't.
Guess what is BB run north south, right?
Yeah, I believe it's on the south end of the property.
I'm not
Totally
familiar with
different.
that particular road.
I
Okay.
think I put it so north is up in your packet.
No.
Okay.
They're gonna have 2 rows.
Just gonna go right next to each other, looks like all one line.
Steve, what is it?
Those are pictures from the West Michigan, the Muskegon Conservation District's report.
Those are nice.
Technology.
It's land.
What is it out of?
It's land.
And they took a picture of the site, I
Earth.
believe.
Isn't that, aren't those
I don't
houses?
know, man, I'm seeing a
Terra
flag
firma.
planted in there, right there, looks like the moon to me.
No,
No, Mars.
Because those all look like houses in there, don't they?
yeah. It is.
Maybe, is that across the street?
Thus, a survey maybe. I don't know. According to the layout on the lot, it looked like there was plenty, is plenty of room.
It's a big lot.
Yeah.
Huge lot.
Anybody seen the solar array in Montague?
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time. Acres.
You know the sad thing with those things and all these great ideas about solar and wind and electric cars?
Get rid of everything else.
Because it takes 40, if you want to plug in one of those electric cars into a quick charge, the one that charges the car in 40 minutes. if you-
220.
If you wanted to fully power that off of solar panels, it takes 40 acres. So explain to me how this is gonna work.
It's
That's
not,
it. I got a,
It's only triple charge.
If you want-
I got a
if you
quote
want-
for solar panels.
If you want to
on my
fast
car.
charge it.
I read that Tesla's recommending their Texas customers not be charged in these 100-degree days. You know, they already know. I mean, everybody knows.
I don't see an issue with the solar.
It's all
Yeah, it's, the measurements out there are,
clear.
the photos really cleared it up for me, until those I wasn't clear.
I was still questioning if that's
It's
even
a
the
deal
property.
breaker.
I was on the fence.
Those are,
They didn't even putting those in the packet.
do you think those are actually the property?
I don't know, I couldn't read it.
Because all the houses in the
I just
background
figured
look.
they're part of the report, so I should put them in the packet.
I hope for the project manager, coordinator, whatever his title is, I'm going to see, I'm going to ask him about that. Project coordinator.
I mean, it could be a picture of where they're going, because it's only 200 feet it shows from where they're putting them over to the property line, so.
So, yeah, it's a picture pointing this way,
Okay, right.
from this corner,
Yeah.
from this here looking back towards.
Are those houses across the street?
Yeah.
No,
No.
no, they're on the same, I mean, here's the, this is pretty sure that's the house, stuff right here, there's pointing back this way. These homes, Mom McMillan. So that big barn is also the road, and one point there. And you're like sitting there. God, you're right there. Yeah, cause there's the tower.
They're taking a picture over here.
Yeah, we must be back on the property corner. Back there, farther. Yeah, they're like way there.
Yeah. That was good.
All right, any questions, anything? We're okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Anything?
All right, and then we move on to our ordinance 2022-04, the animals gardening site drainage and existing residential uses in commercial zoning districts.
Haven't we beat the crap out of that already?
We did.
Yeah, this is the actual, we will take a,
Final draft,
Yeah, it's just a public hearing.
this goes to the board. One last look.
yeah, this is our public hearing, and then
It was just our last modifications we made to it.
Steve and I talked about this evening earlier, and he helped me understand that this is really a small segment of animal opportunity, because it reads, existing residential within or in commercial zoning properties, district. So there's several qualifiers there. It's gotta be commercial zone, residential use, with animals, gardening, etc. So that can't be that many properties.
What?
No, that was only for the, only to allow pole barns. For
Accessory buildings and
Yeah.
commercial.
essentially allowing, accessory buildings and expansions of non-conforming residential uses in the commercial zoning districts.
Okay.
So section 1 will apply to
all districts.
all zones,
Yep.
as will section 2 and section 3.
And then 5, 6, and 7. Refer to the residential and the commercial.
So for that one, do we need a public hearing for that? We've already had the public hearing, correct?
We have not.
Okay.
No, we did the final draft approval last month, we moved that to public hearing. So this will be the final stage for this.
Okay, so it is a public hearing.
Which means we're done with it.
And that's not a lot of controversy, I don't think, in this one, so I think it'll be I'd be surprised if I see tractors when I pull up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm running.
Oh, shoot, all the people at the track should be happy with it.
Yeah.
The other people that would be like, possibly. Are these, I had one question about the solar panel, just out of curiosity, are they installing them themselves? I see they have engineering drawings and stuff, but I don't see like, we had my own solar or whatever here before, it's actually the name of them right on the thing. I just wonder if they're having somebody else install it, they're installing.
I don't know if they're doing it themselves. I do know they're doing all the permitting themselves,
Okay.
and they're using different firms than we usually see.
Yeah, okay. It's just, yeah, it just looks different than ours.
Right.
So just,
They might be.
just out of curiosity, because, I don't know. I might wanna talk to them, if they're doing it themselves. Just to see
We can ask.
other things. Yeah, just.
Okay, I think that's a good
I'm-
question.
I'm
Just hire an electrician and
Yeah,
just
I'm,
run the wire.
yeah, I'm interested in some of that stuff eventually down the road, so. Let's see how they, what about it?
You need 40 acres to charge your car.
That's the thing, I know, I just need to run some refrigerators. Yeah, I don't, that's what the guy, cause I had Fourth Days and Sons come out, and he was talking about that. He's like, oh, I'm raising how much car, like, I don't, to do what? Like, you're gonna plug it in, like, it's gonna be like your battery bank for your solar farm, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand, you know, I don't know. I guess I don't understand how it's all gonna work, because, no, we're moving all this energy to this source, and we're talking about diversifying, especially other things in life, diversity or whatever, and here we are going all the one way, instead of just having all these sources of power, and it can be cheaper. I don't know, that's my thinking, but.
Twin Lake nuclear plant will be installed.
Right by the elementary and F and bar.
Yeah. Well, there won't be any water, the lake's gonna dry up, so. I'll be able to do it.
That looks pretty straightforward on that one.
We went through all that stuff.
So we feel pretty good about that. Is there anyone that have anything else? If not, I will take anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are closed at 6:42.
So we put in, like, a year ago, we put in 2 of them fast chargers up at the store on North Lake Drive.